Hey, happy new day, family. I'm back. I know I've been away for a little while. In fact, I was in Ghana, and I was reprimanded by a couple of people who have been watching my podcast. You know, one sister told me, you know, you're my Sunday go-to. And then I looked up and you were gone, okay? So I'm back on it again. I'm back in Rwanda after having spent about 4 months. I went in May, June, July, August. Yeah. And this is my exercise. I just came from the gym. I do have 2 of these. Today I was able to push up 8 pounds, or is it pounds? 8 kilograms. Okay, so, you know, building up my strength. You know, generally, it's like when you go to America, you come back fat. You know, when you go to that side, you come back with a lot of weight on. Well, I don't know what happened to me. When you come from Africa, I lost weight coming from Africa. I lost more than 20 pounds. And, you know, take a look at my face, look at my arms, you know. So I got to build myself back up again. But that don't stop no show. So let me delve into the next chapter called Home Once More. After putting Prince and his mom on the plane back to Ghana, I took the opportunity to visit with family and friends in America who I had not seen in a long time. And so it was difficult once I got back on that plane and I had reconfirmed my reservations and was on my way back to Ghana. It's really difficult to describe the feeling that came over me as my plane landed at Kotoka International Airport. One was a feeling of relief and joy, but it went deeper than that. I was like a baby returning to the bosom of my mother. As I stepped out the plane, the evening heat rushed me, warming my body, a little muggy, but wonderful. I could hardly wait to see Nana. Well, let me tell you, I got a real surprise when somebody met me at the plane and escorted me through the VIP lounge. I was a little puzzled. As I came through the doors, there was Nana, and boy, did he look good to me. I literally jumped into his arms. Laughing, I asked, "What is this? How come I'm brought through the VIP lounge?" His response was, "You're a very important person, baby." And he hugged me again. Nana was always full of surprises, and this was no different. He always did the unexpected. A reporter from one of the national newspapers was also there to welcome me home. God, did that sound good to my ears? Home. Home. Ghana. Boy, the reporter, he also wanted to interview me regarding my trip to the United States of America. Once the interview was completed and the bags gathered, we set out for home. Home to Elmina and my family. It had been a long 3 months. I was even happy to see the soldiers at the checkpoints along the way, and they didn't seem so intimidating to me this time. I even fell asleep during the ride home, and when I awoke, I didn't have a clue as to where I was. We were riding alongside a long wall when suddenly we stopped and turned into this gate. A little late to be visiting someone, I thought. "Where are we, Nana?" I asked. "Home," he replied. "Home?" I asked again, still half asleep. I didn't recognize anything. As we drove into the yard, there was Mama D and Bongo Shorty standing on the porch, waving and laughing, shouting. The car had not stopped before I jumped out. 2 seconds later, we were all hugging and kissing, but I still couldn't seem to get a grip on where I was. The roof had been under construction when I left, with scaffolds surrounding the house. The building had been unpainted. It was now white with the colors of Ethiopia. Green, gold, and red painted around the crown of the house. The roadside entrance of the house had been painted green, and as I entered the kitchen, I couldn't believe it was the same place, for they had built cabinets and also painted the kitchen. I ran back outside like an excited child. I couldn't get over this place. This was brand new. It had been completely transformed in my absence. Under the twinkling stars and satellites of the dark night, I felt like I was in heaven. The place was enclosed, and we had a gate around our compound. That was another surprise, because Nana always said, we don't need no gate. I don't want no gate around my house. I said, well, everybody in Africa got a gosh darn gate. Even in the village, they got a gate. It may not be cement, but there's a gate around the house. He decided while I was gone to put a gate around our place. And Bongo Shorty, who always said, if you now have gate upon your place, it ain't a home, it's a yard. So now it was really, really a home. The following morning, excuse me, my family had really, really been working. I was too excited to sleep. We stayed up until dawn, talking and enjoying the warmth and the love of each other. The following morning, I explored the compound. I was still mostly impressed with our fence wall. We now had real privacy, because before people would come in, pick my tomatoes. I came out one day and this lady was picking my gungu peas, and she had a big bowl, and the bowl was full of peas. And when I asked her, I said, what are you doing? Well, that was a stupid question, because you could see what the hell she was doing. She's picking my peas. Her response to me was, you can get more. I'm like, is she out of her mind? And you know, in Ghana and other places in Africa, you never ask a person, are you crazy? Because when you ask, are you crazy? You're like saying that insanity runs in their family. Okay. So I was like, okay, no problem, but give me them damn peas. So I took half them peas. I gave her some, and I kept some. The children, before we had the wall, used to stop on the way to school. Everybody would drink water. If somebody had a bottle, they'd fill up on our water. And they would stop on their way back. So now we had a gate and a wall, and you couldn't just walk in. And I mean, we're talking about 35 children. If we were on the porch, each one would speak to each of us individually. Good morning, Nana. Good morning, Ima. Good morning, Auntie D. Good morning, Bongo. That was going. And if they caught us in the afternoon, would be the same thing. Good evening, Nana. Good evening, Bongo. So I was too happy, finally, to have a gate. Every person who would pass our house without a gate was, morning, morning, it's the same, and you'd respond until you finally fled back into the house to hide. One time we were growing watermelons. We took pictures eating in our first homegrown watermelon patch. Everybody was cheesing. Oh yeah, we just farmers from the city. We were so proud of ourselves. We had a nice little watermelon crop, although it was not ready for harvesting. It's a good thing we took pictures, because one day while we were away, somebody came into our yard and broke open all the watermelons and destroyed the tomato crop. It was such a waste, for all they had to do was wait for the harvest, and we would have shared. By now, I was really beginning to appreciate why almost everyone in Ghana had a fence wall, hedges, concrete, or coconut boughs, which was not uncommon in the city, towns, or villages. I had been thinking, I don't understand why Nana couldn't see it. People lived in enclosed family compounds, but my baby, he had been adamant. No fence wall. I didn't come to Africa to live behind concrete walls. No fence, and that's that. Mama D and Bongo, they tried to convince him. Tis not a home, tis a yard till a gate go pon the place, they said. Still no gate. Another time, I came into the house, into my yard, and there was somebody, once again, picking my tomatoes. I said, no, never mind, you can get more. You can go to the market and get more. And if that wasn't enough, I never dreamed that I would come to Africa and get white folks, white people, for my neighbors, missionaries to be exact, who had come to bring Jesus to the people and save the souls of the heathen. God, oh God, I shouted to the heavens, is this a test? Well, there goes my phone. Everybody knows my ring. Nobody has this ring but me. So there's never a mistake about, is that my phone? Is that my phone? This is my phone. Hey, Maisha, what's up, girl? How you doing? Hello? Hold on. Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, wait, let me see you. Hold on. I didn't know I called you on video.
No, you didn't. I think I must have pushed the wrong button.
It's so good to see your face, though.
It's good to see you too, sis, with your pretty self.
Wait, I gotta put the phone down though. I'm driving.
Okay, well, listen, let me do this. Let me call you back later. Right now, I'm in the midst of doing my podcast and going through my book. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it with Dana Dane?
Dana Dane, that's the man. Yeah, Dana Dane. Maisha sends her love to you, Dana Dane. Yeah, I'm going to turn it around so you can see him.
Okay.
You see him?
Hey.
Hello. Let's see him.
Yeah. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. So when I get done with this, I'll hit you back.
Okay.
You're looking beautiful as ever.
Thank you, Mama.
Talk to you later.
Are you gonna, real quick, are you gonna be in Ghana in this? Well, I'll talk to you later. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Yeah, so like I was saying, you know, white folks was my neighbors. So I asked, you know, I called mother, mother, father, is this a test? I mean, I'd be standing on our bedroom porch and they'd be looking in my face. They'd wave and I'd stick out my tongue. You know, eh. So after all of the experience we'd had, and I'm not cited all of them, I was too happy to find a fence wall around our place when I returned from the United Snakes of America, KKK. It was now a home, said Bongo, and I agreed with that 100%. I also had quite a few visitors stopping in to welcome me home. It felt good. One evening while sitting in the yard reasoning with Mr. Kwame, the laundryman we had contracted, he commented on our cat, who we call Ma's Tom, a big reddish colored tomcat that we'd had since it was a kitten. Suddenly, Mr. Kwame said, "Cat meaty sweet oh." I said, "What?" "Cat meaty sweet oh, make good chop chop." I said, "What did you say?" I asked him, not sure of his meaning. "Cat meat, he make good chop chop, good for eating," he continued. "I like it too much," he said with this big mouth watering grin on his face. "You eat cat?" I asked in surprise. "Oh, yes, madam," he continued. "Well, that's not our practice, Mr. Kwame. We do not eat cats. And if anything happens to our cat, I will hold you personally responsible." He just laughed. "Oh, madame," he continued, "it is fine. Plenty people in the village, them eat cat and some eat dog." The thought of eating cats and dogs was turning my stomach. "Can we change the subject?" I asked. "You just remember what I said and do not touch our cat." Lo and behold, several days later, Ma's Tom was nowhere to be found. The last time we'd seen him, he was sitting on the wall, doing tricks and licking his paws. We looked all over the place for Ma's Tom, but had no success in finding him. I mean, sometimes we were like children. We had Ma's Tom was our cat. We had dogs, and Bongo had a monkey. So we would sit out in the mornings, drink our coffee, smoke a little bit, and laugh at the animals. The monkey would run up the tree, and then he would throw stuff down at the dogs and the cats. And the dog would run the cat, and when the cat got tired of running, the cat would turn around and chase the dog. And when he got tired, he sat on the wall. So that was our morning entertainment. So a few days later, as I was on my way to the market, I had to pass by Mr. Kwame's yard. There sat Mr. Kwame and a couple of his Apateshi buddies. You know, Apateshi was the local drink in Ghana called Kill Me Quick, okay? So they were sitting around a pot of red stew. Small white bones littered the ground in front of him. "Our cat," I thought to myself. Mr. Kwame looked very sheepishly at me, mumbled "good morning," and kind of lowered his head. "Mr. Kwame, have you seen my cat?" Oh no, madame. I don't see the cat. I don't know your cat," he stuttered, looking at the ground. Still, I didn't believe him, but what else could I do? I knew in my heart of hearts that they were eating my damn cat. They were eating Ma's Tom. About 2 weeks later, it was confirmed. As I overheard the mason who was working in our yard and Amma, a sister who had come to do the laundry for Mr. Kwame, had not come back again, talking in Fanti about how Mr. Kwame had trapped and eaten Ima's cat. I was too through. I wasn't proficient in Fanti, but I did understand. And I said, "I heard what you said," I told him. "I heard you say that Mr. Kwame had eaten my cat. You wait till I get my hands around his neck." "Oh, please, madame," Amma pleaded. "Please don't tell Mr. Kwame that we told you, for he will vex with us. He told us not to speak of it with you. I don't know you here, Fanti. Please, madame, I beg oh. I finally agreed not to mention their names, but I wasn't finished with Mr. Kwame yet. But as it were, he never came back, and each time I saw him, he would duck and dodge me. So I just let it rest and chalked it up to another series of events in the process of returning home. It took some getting used to, though, but when I thought about it, didn't we eat chickens and cows and goats and raccoons? And it was a different culture here. No wonder you never see a lot of dogs and cats wandering around. We must have looked like real-life version of Animal Farm with our dogs, cats, and monkey running around the place. We all managed to get a good laugh out of the whole thing, and I continued to be pleasantly and sometimes not so pleasantly surprised in my return home from the United States. I also got an unpleasant shock when Mama D informed me that she was returning to Jamaica. She had only been waiting for me to return home. She had had enough of malaria, was having a difficult time with the language and the culture, plus she was missing her family too much. As had been our agreement, if anyone felt that they could not hang, then they had a year to return home. That's why we had bought round-trip tickets. But we ran into a little problem because our tickets had expired and Mama D had stayed 3 years. So we cashed in all 4 of our tickets for their face value and used them to help pay for her return ticket to Jamaica. We were sad about her decision, but could not convince her to change her mind. Then there was the issue of she and Bongo, because they had come together. But Bongo was steadfast in his commitment to stay in Ghana. Me not come forward to go back. If me can't do it here, where me for do it? If me go anywhere, it must be Ethiopia. Maybe a trip back to Jamaica is what I need at this time, D. Bongo commented. It was a sad day in our house as Mama D packed her bags and prepared to leave. I cried like a baby because I was really going to miss my sister and prayed that one day somehow that she would be able to return once again to Ghana. Unfortunately, we did not have the money to be able to make it happen again ourselves, at least not at this time. 2 weeks later, she was gone. Bongo Shorty, also called Bongo Man, had been plenty busy in my absence. He had built a 15-foot craft carved out of a piece of driftwood that he found on the beach in front of our house. It had been there for more than 10 years, according to some of the fishermen from our village. It was a fine boat. Bongo Man, the eye has really been busy, oh. I know that you said you could build boats, but this was the first time I've seen one that you've built. It's wonderful. When can I go for a sail? Anytime you're ready, mistress, as he often called me. Anytime the eye is ready. Is tomorrow too soon? I asked like a little child. Not at all. I'll get a couple of boys from the village and we'll take a trip up the Sweet River. The Sweet River, which stretches inland for about 60 to 70 miles, consists of waters from 3 other rivers, the Kakum, Nankontro, and the Suri River, which flow from the River Pra. These waters flow into the Sweet River, which links with the sea at our village, Itri. History has it that this river was so named by the British in 1700s because although the water linked with the sea, the water was still drinkable, and it was said to be sweet. That same body of water is still used today, which is equally historic and significant in our return, for it is no coincidence that we have returned to a village more than 400 years old and whose ancestors were involved in building the Elmina Castle dungeons. Additionally, our home is located geographically on the coast between Cape Coast and Elmina Castle dungeons. Early the following morning, Nana, Bongo Man, Brother Jacob, and a few other brothers set sail up the Sweet River. We didn't have an outboard motor, so several of the young men rowed. We went past small villages waving at people who greeted us from the shore. This was really a great little craft. As we drifted slowly upriver, there were beautiful black and white birds dipping into the water, red, blue, and turquoise-colored birds flying overhead and perching in the trees. This was new for me, for as often as I passed this river opening, I had never been on it. It was a glorious day. The sun was bright and hot, but it felt wonderful. We returned home that evening. I was as black as tar after being in the sun in that open boat all day. And I really needed the sun after 3 months in America. I had lost my golden African glow. Bongo was also quite excited about the trip, for it had been a long time since he'd been on the water, and he had not been at sea since we arrived in 1991. But now he was on a roll. The following morning, he was up early. I could hear him banging in the distance. When I went outside, there was Bongo making a couple of wooden horses. Stacks of wood stood nearby. My brother was busy. "One love and a good morning, Bongo Man," I called out. "One love and a good morning, mistress," he said, smiling. "Well, what's up?" I asked. "Me getting an early start pon the next boat. Me a build a 30-foot craft to do deep sea fishing. I built that last boat out of fallen tree, but that's too much work and is too heavy for my suit. But planking wood made with wah-wah wood is very light and sturdy," he explained. For the next couple of days, Bongo was busy. But I was a little concerned because it was blazing hot in the sun and the coconut tree did not afford enough shade. He was diligently working and not thinking about the sun, while I, on the other hand, was afraid that he would get heat stroke. Later that afternoon, Bongo, Nana, and I were reasoning and decided that we would build a workshop so that Bongo could work more comfortably. Nana was the materials manager, Bongo Man was the boat builder, and I was the administrator. People came from near and far when they heard about the boat Bongo was building. Everyone knew and respected Bongo, but many couldn't believe that he was building a boat out of wah-wah wood. They thought the wood was too light, and they didn't build them that way in Ghana. Plus, he was building the boat by himself. He had no assistance and without electrical tools. Because I failed to mention that we did not have electricity. It was years after living in Ghana, about 4 or 5 years, before we finally got electricity in our house. We did everything by the light of day. When it got dark, we lit our lanterns and we went to bed. So when he originally started, a few people came around and offered to help, but it was hard work and they didn't last long. Additionally, it was a little frustrating for Bongo because of the language barrier. If he asked for the hammer, he got the saw. If he asked for nails, he got screws. After a really frustrating day with a young brother who said he was an experienced carpenter, but really only came to eat and talk, Bongo hit the ceiling. "Me not want no more help. Me not want no more help. Me can't take it no more. Me can take the talking. When them supposed to be working is when them want to work, them not come. When them come, they leave early. because someone's sick or dead. And then they want me to give them money. Sure, he said with a sigh. Well, what do you want to do, man? Nana asked. You do need some help. Me not need help like that, he continued. Nana said, just let me know what you need and I'll see if I can't get it. I want different size G-clamp, a brace, a tool belt, a hacksaw. That will hold me for now, Bongo responded. So like the good materials manager that Nana is, Nana went shopping for the things that Bongo needed. Now with the workshop constructed and all his tools in hand, he was good to go. People called him the one-man contractor. He was really amazing. Watching him work was a treat in itself. He would clamp the wood on one end, line it up properly, walk to the other end, clamp that side, get the saw, cut the plank to the desired size, and he never missed a beat. Bongo was less than 4 feet tall. He was about 4 feet tall. Smallish man with long locks. When people would come to watch him, he would make it very plain. Me no want no loud talking while me working. If you can't stay quiet, go through the gate, he'd say, and would never miss a beat. It took about 7 months to complete the boat. He worked every day from sunup to when done, and because we had no electricity, as I mentioned before, everything was done without power tools, using plenty of elbow grease. Even the sanding of the boat was done by hand. When it was time to put on the finishing touches, Nana went to Côte d'Ivoire for the fiberglass that was needed for the boat bottom. Again, Daddy Bongo did it himself. When Bongo was finished, he had a beautiful 30-foot fishing boat with a small cabin. Brother Whaler, who moved with us for a time, lent his hands to assist in painting the craft and doing other odd jobs. But Bongo is the man. He is our one-man contractor. There is a symbol in Ghana called Haiwanchi, which is a symbol of imperishability and endurance, symbolizing the ability to withstand pain and other hardships, that which cannot be burned. And that pretty much describes my brother, Bongo Shorty.